Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to focus on finding sheds in logging cuttings. So you can see behind me right now I got a big brand new clear cut that is going on this winter. I'm in Minnesota right now and we actually have a little bit of snow coming down. You can see some of the logs behind me, these fresh popples that have been cut down. There's some birch mixed in here, balsam, some other trees. And this right here, this kind of cutting is exactly what I'm looking for this coming spring. Once all those antlers have come down, I'm going to be focusing on this exact clear cut right here. We're going to go find a few more of these today, but I just wanted to stop and talk a little bit about this cutting and why I focus on these. And so the part of the state where I'm in, these are some of the best food sources you can find in this area and probably in your area as well. These tops that have come down are going to provide a ton of forage for the deer. Again, there's birch, there's popple, there's other trees in here. And the reason that this cutting is so special is because of what's next to it. So we can find a lot of clear cuts. Clear cuts are going on every winter in this area, in a lot of big woods areas, even mixed ag areas. There's clear cuts going on. But not every clear cut is the same. Some are better than others for finding sheds. And the reason this one is better than others is because of what's behind the camera back over here. And I'll show you some footage of what I'm talking about. But the reason I'm so focused and excited about this clear cut is because I see a whole bunch of pine trees, I see black spruce, and I see cedar. And I've confirmed that this is a big cedar swamp over here on my aerial photos, and that's what's going to hold deer in the wintertime. So again, I've made other shed hunting videos about thinking about your strategy. Is if it's deep snow, that's going to force those deer into those tighter congregations in the wintertime. And that's exactly what we're going to have back here. It's a deep snow winter. It's a really harsh winter here in Minnesota. Haven't gone back in here. I'm not going to, because I don't want to stress these deer out. I'm right on the edge of the cutting right now, so this is where those deer are coming out to feed. And so I feel safe and comfortable snooping around here in the cutting. You know, there's big logging equipment running around here all winter, so me filming this video isn't going to be stressing the deer out right here. But what would stress the deer out is if I went charging back into this cedar swamp. But I've confirmed that this is prime cover by, I'm looking at the edge of it right now, and then on the aerial photos I've confirmed this is a place I want to be. And the other thing, you guys, is I see a bunch of deer tracks out here in this cutting, which is really cool. I actually saw a couple deer when I was pulling in. A couple deer went running off, and they were feeding on these downed tops in here. And so this is exactly what I'm looking for when I'm scouting in the off season. And you know, you get into some of these areas too, and I can see there's a lot of really nice cedar trees here, white cedars, and these branches get knocked down. That is one of the best foods for whitetails this time of year in the wintertime. Oftentimes in these cedar bottoms, that alone is what sustains them back in these wintering grounds, is those cedar branches. Now the loggers don't cut these down, but the branches do get knocked down inadvertently in the logging process. And so I can see right over here there's tracks, and there's sign of deer feeding on these downed cedar tops. So the other thing I'm doing today is I got a backpack on. I've got a couple of trail cameras with me. I'm going to set up some trail cams right now, and it's the very first week of February, and I just want to monitor this clear cut for a couple reasons. Number one, I'm just kind of curious to see if I get a big buck on camera. That'd be pretty cool, number one. And then number two, I want to know and monitor when those antlers are coming down. So I think today is actually February 5th. So I am betting that at least half the antlers are down in our area right now. Could be perhaps a little more than that. But like I say, it's usually that January, February time frame where the antlers come down here around my area. It might be a little bit different in your area. But this is, again, I always talk about that peak of the bell curve. I'm not going to come back in here until two things have happened. Number one, all the antlers have come down, or at least the majority of them. We're on the very back end, the toe of the slope on that bell curve for those antlers coming down. One, and two, I want to wait until this snow comes down and the conditions aren't so harsh and hard on these deer, because I don't want to go flushing them out of this cedar swamp and into that deep snow. We got a lot of timber wolves around here, and just that deep snow, these deer are hanging on right now with their fat reserves. And so I don't want to harm them any more than I have to. Okay, this is what I'm getting at. These branches right here, this is a big cedar branch that came down. These get knocked down inadvertently in these cuttings, and this right here is just gold to a whitetail this time of year. And there's a lot more of these laying around this clear cut right now. I'm gonna set these cameras up and get them pointed in areas where I think these deer are gonna be feeding out here. Maybe we'll get a great big buck on camera, a big old chocolate horned Northwoods buck, and we'll be able to monitor when those sheds are coming down as well. All right, you guys, I got those cameras set up. I'm gonna sneak out of here and try to find a couple more of these spots. Like I said, my goal is to find, I'm gonna hope to find 3 or 4 of these kind of cuttings with these cedars around here. Again, this is what I'm looking for right here, and I got one of these great big cedars in the background right behind me. This thing is just an absolute monster, and this is what these deer are keying on this time of year. So think about that if you're out looking for a spot to find sheds this spring. That wintertime scouting, like I talk about right now, is just absolutely crucial. Locate these deer. I can see right now there's trails coming out of this swamp. There's tracks all over in here where those deer are coming out to feed on these tops. And I'm gonna be getting back in here this spring. I'm gonna be covering those south-facing hillsides, and I'm gonna be following that edge. That's the other thing I wanted to talk to you about today, is when you're back in these areas and these big woods conditions. As we all know, whitetails are creatures of edge. Oftentimes you don't want to go right into the center of this cedar swamp. That spot on the spot that I talk about is going to be that very edge of the cedar swamp and the edge of this clear cut. So I'm going to tighten up my comb when I'm in here shed hunting on the edge of the clear cut where they're entering it, and then those edges and fringes of that cedar swamp, I'm going to shed hunt those really intensively. I might walk a whole lot of this area, but not as intensively as those really prime blue chip spots. Think about that in your area. Maybe it's not this exact same scenario. Even if it's a crop field and a woodlot over here, the same concepts apply. I'm just using what I have available to me in this big woods condition. And that's the thing we have to do anytime we're hunting whitetails or shed hunting for them in these big woods conditions. Oftentimes we don't have that pinpointed or isolated crop field or food plot. This right here, you guys, this great big cutting behind me, this is the best thing we can get. This is the closest we can get to those pinpointed spots, just those real confining the deer as best we can. This cutting right here is going to do that with all these down tops, and then right back behind the camera here in that cedar swamp, same thing, with all these cedar branches, and then that bedding area back there. I'm going to be back in here this spring and hopefully pick up some big old northern Minnesota chocolate buck sheds. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Stick around, I got lots more shed hunting videos to come. I want to hear how you guys are doing down below in the comments. Take care.